Hi guys, and welcome back to the Marathon-Crossfit here, and today I would like to talk about the sins of the squat and how to overcome them. So I'm guilty of these sins myself, and I will give you some tips how to get better at them. So the first and probably one of the biggest ones is ankle mobility. Also for me, my heels still come off the ground here and there on my squat, and is repeatedly pointed out on my YouTube channel that I shouldn't do that. And yes, I am working on that. So how to work on that and give you a few tips around that. So first drill that you can do to get more ankle mobility and to generally loosen up your hips so that you can get down to the hole a bit better is face the wall squats. So what are face the wall squats? Face the wall squats are squats where you go into a powerlifting squat stance. So you will go a bit wider than you would usually do, and you will also try to keep your shins as vertical as possible. And then you will stand in front of the wall like this, with your nose almost touching the wall, and then you will do about 5 to 8 repetitions of 4 sets, trying to go as deep as possible. If you've never done these before, you will feel the tension and the tightness in your hips when you go down. If you want really excellent instructions on this, please refer to the Deadlift Dynamite book by Andy Bolton and Pavel Tsatsouline. The drill is described in there in a lot of detail from professionals who can actually explain it a lot better than me, but that is the first drill. The second drill is the 90-90 stretch. So 90-90 stretch is basically that you get both your legs in at a 90-degree angle, sitting on the ground, and then you bend forward and stretch. What this does, it actually also stretches your hips. I do that in the mornings when I do my meditation. I basically go into that position and then I hold it for 1 minute each side after I did my warm-up. And the third drill that you can do is the QL stretch. So that is basically going with your legs on the ground like a V shape. You know that, you have seen that stretch definitely somewhere, and look it up if you can't follow the instructions like this. And then you just stretch and try to touch your toes with the opposite arm, and also hold that stretch for a minute. So that helps you with hip mobility and then also ankle mobility. And one more movement I do is a praying goblet squat, which is basically with a kettlebell, which is basically holding a kettlebell by the horns in front of you, and then get the feet about shoulder width beneath you. So a lot tighter and narrower than with the face the wall drill, and then I go down into a squat to actually loosen up the hip. Then another tip for you to overcome the sins of the squat is that you actually vary your training between high bar, low bar, narrow and wide stance. So my sin was during Stronglifts 5x5 in my first year of training. I only trained one variation of the squat. Now, what this led to is really limited motor patterns. So if you want to train for general strength and health, I would definitely recommend that you train high bar squats, low bar squats, narrow stance and wide stance, and get a bit of variation in there after you've, let's say, trained the squat for 3 months just as to lay the basis. Then I would start to actually try to get a bit of variation in there. And also, before you start varying stuff, please read up on some variations, and please get some of the best information out there by the pros and processes mentally before just blindly going in and ingraining bad form like I did. Then the third thing for sins of the squats is wrong breathing. So what I did is I didn't get as tight as possible. I didn't get as much tension as possible, and that is a science in itself. And therefore I got very close to getting a hernia in my lower left abs just before I got engaged. That was, yeah, about a year ago, 2 years ago. Well, my fiance wouldn't be too happy about that I don't know specifically. But basically, fix your breathing. So how did I fix my breathing? I looked up Chris Doffin, his workshop on Super Training 06 on breathing, I think, is an excellent workshop to walk you through how you have to breathe. And basically what I do is I get all of the air out with a big breath out, and that actually takes quite a long time. And then I breathe in through the nose into my stomach. So you should breathe horizontally rather than vertically. You shouldn't breathe into your chest. You should breathe into your stomach, so that actually the weakest part of your body, where are the least bones and the most soft tissue, which is your guts basically, that gets as rigid as possible. Because the more rigid you get that, the more of a strength base and the more of a solid base you have to perform the squat. Okay, so then the next thing that I overlooked and was a sin on the squat is a weak lower back. So also on Stronglets 5x5 or on starting strength, there is not a lot of attention being paid to the lower back and to train that up and make that harder and stronger. So what I would definitely recommend for you is that you think about how to approach the lower back and strengthen it while you go along with a beginner program and with a beginner routine, with some accessory work. Like if you invest 15 minutes a day after you've done your main sets to attack the lower back and the core, the midsection of your body a bit more, you will be more healthy and less prone to injury. Exercises that can help with that are the reverse hyper, Turkish get-ups, kettlebell swings, Kettlebell Simple and Sinister, also great book. Read it and you will have a whole routine to warm up and to get stronger around the around the midsection. Sorry, rollouts, GHD sit-ups, all stuff that you can do. And also read up about hardstyle training, which is also a concept that is in Pavel Tsatsoulin's book Power to the People. So it's not necessarily about the amount of repetitions you do, but about the intensity and how much you tense up within those midsection exercises to get a bulletproof midsection that then will also enable you to get a bigger squat. And then the last tip, which is a sin of the squat that I did, is that I did too little of it in my teenage years. So in my teenage years, I was afraid of the squat because I didn't know how to do it properly. I was not flexible enough, and therefore I missed out on a lot of training time and development in my legs. And that reflects now, well, I'm about to turn 32. It reflects really because I did a lot of bench pressing, so I have a decent bench press of 150 kg, but I didn't do a lot of squatting, and therefore my squat is, compared to my bench press, relatively poor. I only squat 170 kg. Now, if you compare that with lifters like Brandon Campbell, now Brandon Campbell is also somewhere around 140, 150 bench press. I think on his last meet he benched somewhere between 152, 155, but his squat is somewhere in the 280 region. So you see what went wrong there with me. For my bench press is overly good compared to my squat and my deadlift, which are very poor compared to my bench press. I mean, of course, some people would say Brandon Campbell is also a poor bench presser, and he says that himself, but still, just to put that into perspective for you. So these are the sins of the squat and how you can overcome them. I hope the content helps you, and also the material I mentioned will help you to become a better lifter and a better strength athlete. Please like, please subscribe, please share around if the content helps you. Marathon-Crossfit is all about helping dads and stepdads to get stronger, run faster, and think deeper, to cope with life better and to live up to their responsibilities. And if you pop a comment down below, I'll get back to you with a personalized answer as soon as I can. Bye bye.